Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and oh goody, Strange New Worlds is on its way. And now, of course, the cast are out there doing interviews and saying all the things you don't want to hear, such as they got to improvise on the set and tick all the boxes. Sweet mother. So, some of this is what we've heard before, but then some of it now is just this guy who plays Sam Kirk seems to be doing the most of the talking this time around, and yeah, it's not good. What they're saying is not good. Like, the show is not good at all, but this is the final 2 seasons now, and this is not the crap you want to hear. I love that the cast keep going out and going, we get to do whatever we want. We're going balls to the wall. We're going crazier than we did last season. We're going to do weirder things and really dive into the craziness and wackiness of everything. And then Akiva Goldsman's coming out going, oh no, we learned from our mistakes with season 3 and we're going very traditional with this. Shut the You've been saying that crap since season 1 of Discovery. Well, don't worry, next season will be more like the Star Trek, it never, ever has been. But let's dive into this, because this is just one of these, like, oh no. So, season 4 of Strange New Worlds premieres on July 23rd. God help us all. The latest trailer came out a few weeks ago, and now, as convention season begins, we're starting to see some interviews with the cast. Now, what I love is they're saying, now that convention season is starting, they immediately go to the thing that happened a while ago. Like last month. It's like, okay, so it's only starting now, and yet you're going to the thing from last month. So one of the many great panels at Trek Long Island last month was a discussion with Strange New Worlds. Celia Rose Gooding, who plays Uhura, Dan Janet, I have no idea, plays Sam Kirk, and Chris Myers, the ill-fated Ensign Gimble, who I believe is this guy. I think this is the guy who, this one here, I think he's the one who lost his eyes. This guy, I'm pretty sure he's this guy. So yeah, like, Jesus Christ, the state of that picture of him. So, season 4 pulls no punches. And this is funny, they're talking to Stranger Worlds Pod's Giraffe. Jesus Christ. So, the 5th and final season of Stranger Worlds wrapped production in December, and filming on season 4 ended in August. So, for the actors, it's been a hot minute since the cast was in the thick of it. Gooding started saying, we shot season 4 maybe 2 years ago now, and so we had to have a little debrief out there of what we are allowed to say and what we are not. And by that point, Janet jumps in and says, then before we could come up with an answer, they were like, Celia. So, I don't understand what that's meant to mean, but Celia did take a minute to focus on season 4 and what it was like for her. Now, half of what she says here doesn't even make sense, and she keeps saying lift for some reason. So Gooding said this: it was a real lift, emotionally and physically. I did a lot of my own stunts in that episode. What episode? And also, it's very similar to the musical episode. There were, it flipped on me there, I've lost myself now, where there's a moment that I think really defines her understanding of her place in Starfleet, but also her place in herself and her relationship to herself. And what in Christ's name does that mean? And I think, well, you'll figure it out now in a minute, watch. And I think just doing that sort of deep shadow work that is necessary for emotional lifts like that was very intense, and someone who was not in therapy at the time and should have definitely been in therapy at the time. She's saying she struggled with doing this role at this moment, with this story because she wasn't actually in therapy at the time. But she's now admitting she's in therapy. That's what kind of lunatics these people are. Look at them. Look at this. And they're now in therapy. Wow. But she said, season 4, it's intense and we pull no punches. It's a lift for sure, but the season 4 final, for me personally, was some of the hardest stuff I've done, and whenever that episode comes out, you'll know exactly what I mean. So, what is this lift? Why does she keep saying lift? Is this a new thing to say? Oh, it's a lift in this way. Shut up, woman. So this does raise the possibility that one of many characters, or one of, I think it's meant to say one of the main characters, but it just says one of main characters, will come to a tragic end in the season 4 final, possibly as a way to make room for the arrival of new cast members, Thomas Jane as McCoy and Kai Muramaki, or however you pronounce it, as Sulu. Straight away, that can't be the case because they don't show up until the very last episode of season 5. So you're not going to remove main characters in the season 4 final to make room for 2 characters who don't show up till the very last episode. What it probably will do is it may kill off like some of these characters because he has to go, she has to go, she has to go, she has to go. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Pike, and that it'll be the disfigurement and stuff of Pike. That is probably what we're leaning into there. And it just says like it has to make way for Kirk and obviously to get rid of these characters. So Sam Kirk will be there till the end, which, okay. So one character we know is sticking around is Janet's Sam Kirk, where he said, I am in season 4, I'm in season 5. I'm up in it till the end, and it's been my pleasure, but also my curse to be on a show that's got a dozen incredibly talented and charming actors who are more important than me, blah blah blah. Here's the thing, they're saying he's in it till the end. He has to be, because Sam Kirk doesn't die until later on in the franchise. Not to mention, Sam Kirk shouldn't even be on the Enterprise because he never served on the Enterprise. But he's here, and this guy has been basically absent from the last season. I think he was in like 2 episodes last season. So he's saying he had fun describing the role Sam has taken on the show. You mean as a non-existent character, because you vanished for half of it. Where he said, they wait till shit goes bad and then they're like, Sam, give us a science explanation. They stopped inviting me on away missions after I touched that egg. Don't remember him touching an egg, because, you know, once this shit's over, I pretty much try and purge it from my memory. And no, he never brings up science explanations, because none of the Kurtzman Star Trek has ever brought up science explanations. So while we know Sam Kirk's eventual fate, we could see him head off to the Devona, I think is how you pronounce it, colony. In the original series, Operation Annihilation, Sam is stationed there with his wife and son and gets killed in an attack by a parasitic creature. All we see of him is his dead body, played by William Shatner with a mustache, which was understandably confusing to Dan when he got the role of Sam, because he thought he was going to play Kirk as well. Because he says, I thought when I got the part of Sam Kirk and they were like, later in the season Jim Kirk shows up, I'm like, yeah, here we go. And then they're like, Paul Wesley. He pointed out the advantages of playing a character with history and less history and weight and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. Who cares? We get to this part. Well, Star Trek of the past had a history of making the cast painstakingly stick to the scripts. Actors in the Kurtzman era have more time for rehearsal and can have some input in the moments on set. Giraffe asked if they ever got to improv. Dan said it varied widely from director to director, which is when Jonathan Frakes' name came up. Now, just before I go into this part, the thing with Jonathan Frakes, there's a Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner podcast out there that you can watch. And they've spoken to another actor or writer or something and said, like, they were encouraged not to deviate from the script. They obviously could sit down and have conversations and change some lines here and there. But they were asked to stick to the script. And they were asked to stick to the script because the language that is used, and this is important, was meant to be the language of the future. That's why there was no swearing and stuff like that. That's why they spoke the way they did. That it was recognizable, but it was different and slightly more advanced and stuff like that. So they were encouraged to kind of stick to the script, but they could obviously make changes here and there. They are saying we were basically told, do what you want, which he's saying here, like Gooding says, Frakes let us do whatever we want, and he's often like throwing out new ideas at us, but it really does depend on the director. Now, there's probably a reason Jonathan Frakes has said to them, you pretty much do what you want. Because he's probably looking at the scripts and going, wow, there's really no technobabble and stuff in any of this, so like, what's the point in sticking to the whole idea of, no, you better stay rigid with the wording and stuff in this. So that's probably where that comes from. So Dan said he got a lot of freedom from director Jordan Canning, who did one of the worst episodes in this franchise, which is this 4.5 Vulcans, which was when 4 human members of the crew get transformed into Vulcans on a DNA level and then just rip the piss out of Spock throughout the whole thing because he's only half Vulcan. But he said this, I'd say Jordan Canning has directed some fantastic episodes that skew towards the funnier side of things, and I feel like I personally have a lot to thank her for, because in terms of setting up Sam as a character, always a support character, but like some of my funnier bits were things that she encouraged me to do, or I would say something in rehearsal like, we're gonna go do karaoke, and she'd be like, keep that. I'm like, I was just being stupid, and she's like, no, put it in. So yes, some directors definitely veer more towards that. This is why this show is dog shit. Oh yeah, keep that stupid line in that reference nothing to what we're actually doing. To the point the actor himself is saying, like, I was just dicking about. And they're like, nah, keep it in. It's so stupid. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I really don't care. But all they seem to be doing then is they're just walking around making sure they tick all the boxes to do all the stupid shit. And then, of course, improvising all their dialogue and stuff in this show. God help us all. But the penultimate season is on its way, and yes, I will review it for you beautiful people, so you don't have to endure the painstaking hour of watching that shit. Good God, it's almost over. It's almost over, but just hearing all this really just shows you how and why this stuff is as bad as it is. But there you go, folks. What do you think of these statements from these people? You can read the full article yourself if you want to. It's at trekmovie. Is it not net or .com? .com, whatever. Yeah, .com. So, let us know what you think. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.